I have people from England telling me you're going to be a Muslim country in 10 years. And Charles III might be the Muslim monarch of England. I mean, they're taking over. And Iran is the fuel behind that.
You realize, Rudy, only 5% of the UK is Muslim, do you?
It doesn't matter. They have tremendous power. How many mayoralties do they have? I mean,
They have a few mayoralties, but this idea, there's a lot of Americans increasingly concerned that a lot of you guys seem to have this idea that we're literally being overrun by Muslims. And I don't know where it's coming from, because I live here. I live in London. I don't get any feeling I'm being overrun by Muslims.
Did Israel cause Donald J. Trump to launch this operation against Iran to end the war that began 47 years ago? Let's listen to former Mayor Rudy Giuliani as he discusses with Piers Morgan of how far back did Donald J. Trump talk about this operation.
Let's talk about Iran, Rudy. You've said, I think, that Trump is reasserting himself on the global stage. Do you still feel that a month in?
I do. And, you know, I have to tell you, knowing him 40 years, I can tell you that his views on Iran go back long before I mean, in the 1980s, he's actually on record talking about it, but I can remember having conversations with him where we both felt, particularly after the Marines were hit in Lebanon, we wondered why Ronald Reagan didn't take him out. After taking the hostages, embarrassing the hell out of the United States, and then killing our Marines. I think this is like, it should have happened like 35 years ago. And a lot of people would be alive today and the world would be a lot better. But we can't live with nuclear weapons in the hands of an irrational regime. This is not Putin. This is not Xi Jinping. They're terrible people. They're very evil, but they're not irrational. They don't want to die. The Ayatollah and the people around him, they're actually displaying the fact that they do want to die. I mean, the Ayatollah knew he was going to get hit. He sat there, and I think he thought he was going to go up to paradise and find his 72 virgins. So this really fits in what my biggest hero used to say, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan used to say, mutually assured destruction is the way we kept this world together for a long, long time during the Cold War. But it's immoral because it rests on the fact that both sides have to have a rational leader. You get a crazy man in either spot, goodbye world. And we got a crazy man who wants to get nuclear weapons, has already killed thousands of Americans, chants every week that he wants death to America. I don't know how much more of a threat you have to have.
But given he's been replaced, it appears, by his son, although we haven't seen the son as supreme leader, and the son has now lost his father, his mother, his wife, and 2 of his kids, reportedly. May even have died himself. We just don't know. But clearly the ideology hasn't died. The IRGC remain in place. And I just think, and General Kimmett just shared this concern, that if America was to now commit ground forces into Iran to try and get, for example, the enriched uranium, it could be one of the most dangerous operations American forces have ever engaged in. And if, as you say, you're dealing with unstable people who don't mind dying for their cause, does that not concern you, Rudy?
Of course it concerns me. I mean, when we lost our first soldier, you say to yourself, is it worth it? And now, what, 13? But the reality is, it worries me more that we have a world in which I mean, at one point, Iran was a substantial power in the Middle East. It looked like they had an empire across the northern part of the Middle East. I mean, they controlled Syria, they controlled Lebanon. They had 3 or 4 proxies that were extremely dangerous. I mean, Hezbollah was undefeatable at one point, that we thought. So to let them move back into that situation again puts the whole world in danger. Why do you think they shot that missile that went, what did it go, 2,000, 2,500 miles? They wanted to show Europe, we can hit you at this point. And they've actually attacked the Emirates more than they have Israel.
Right.
Which has to tell you that their aim here is either totally irrational or it's to be the dominant power in the Middle East.
There's a third way you could look at it, which is it shows you they're actually being quite rational and quite cunning. They know they can't compete with America / Israel militarily. They can't compete with the military firepower in terms of just numbers. But when it comes to strangling the global economy by closing the Straits of Hormuz, and when it comes to attacking the Gulf states in the way they have, attacking refineries and tourist areas and so on, killing, for now, stone dead the business models of those states until this is over, that shows a lot of rationality, actually. It's a rational response to defending yourself when you can't do it purely with military firepower, isn't it? They've shown a cunning which appears to have been underestimated by America and Israel.
Well, I'm not sure it was. I mean, I think I always thought an action against Iran would be a major war. It's a country that's been building up militarily. In fact, I think had it been 2 or 3 years ago, it would have been even worse. We've deteriorated them a lot in the last 2 years. But I mean, the reality is that probably makes sense at the beginning, because that's what I thought. I thought they were doing this in order to get the Arab states to put pressure on the president to call a ceasefire.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's the opposite. European countries want a ceasefire, but they want, I mean, they would surrender if I declared war on them, and I'd be able to take them over. I mean, they're all a bunch of useless cowards. But
do you really believe that, Rudy?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, the prime minister in your country, sad to say, I have people from England telling me you're going to be a Muslim country in 10 years. I mean, the Anglican Church, the Roman Catholic Church is bigger in England now than the Anglican Church, and Charles III might be the Muslim monarch of England. I mean, they're taking over, and they want to take over, and it's their aim, and Iran is the fuel behind that. You take out the Islamic Republic of Iran, the whole thing moves in the other direction.
You realize, Rudy, only 5% of the UK is Muslim, do you?
It doesn't matter. I mean, they have tremendous power. How many mayoralties do they have? I mean,
they have a few mayoralties, but this idea, there's a lot of Americans are increasingly concerned that a lot of you guys seem to have this idea that we're literally being overrun by Muslims. And I don't know where it's coming from. Because I live here. I live in London. I don't get any feeling I'm being overrun by Muslims.
Well, I mean, I was in London about a year and a half ago, and it seemed to me there were an awful lot of women with veils on that I'd never seen before. And you have debates over whether Sharia law should be respected. Of course, it shouldn't be respected. Sharia law is a cult of death. I mean, the Quran is a cult of death.
But Sharia law has no legal standing in the UK.
Well, not according to a lot of reports that I read in different parts of England. It actually dominates. And Stearmer seems to be very, very affected by them politically. He seems to want to make them happy, make them contented. And certainly he doesn't seem to be trying to make them English, nor do the French seem to be trying to make them French. They're contrary to immigration and assimilation. They just do the immigration part, and then follow Muhammad. What did Muhammad tell them to do? Take over.
You're suggesting that all the millions of Muslims who live in the UK have a kind of radical mindset. And I would say back to you that that is simply not the case. All the evidence suggests that that is not the case.
I don't think they all have a radical mindset. In fact, the majority of them don't. I know Muslims in the United States.
Right.
I've studied the Quran.
You have about the same number of Muslims in the United States as we have here, and most of them are assimilated very well.
They're very, very silent. They are. There's a very, very excessive militaristic form of the Muslim religion, which is justifiable based on the literal words of the Quran. And then the rest of the Muslims are very silent. You rarely hear an objection to the horrible things that they do. And very often you hear a defense of it. It's very hard to get Muslims to stand up to the atrocities that they have, that they commit. And there's a defensiveness that's extraordinarily dangerous. Reminds you of a little of Germany. Certainly all of Germany weren't Nazis. They just were afraid and they were defensive and wouldn't stand up to it. That is a significant problem in the Muslim world. And it's beginning to change in the Arab countries. You also can't discount the fact that what you have going on between Iran, Persia, and the Saudi Arabian desert is a 1,500-year, 2,000-year war between the Persians and the Arabs. I mean, they despise each other deep down. Now, what happened and why your theory that it was very rational doesn't work is because the Arab countries are now telling Trump, don't end this and leave them there. Because to leave them there is just to kick this down the road. If they're going to do this to Emirates now, if they get more powerful, they'll do even worse. So if I were the emir, I would be very much in favor of anything and everything that gets this theocracy over with. And I think it's possible to do it. I don't think they're as powerful as they appear to be. I think that we've done tremendous damage to them. God knows we don't know because most of the press and most of the reporting is very much against us. To suggest that they're winning this war like the Economist did is absurd. You're not winning a war when you've lost thousands and we've lost 13. I mean, it's absurd. And where you've taken more people out in the Emirates than you have in Israel. The reality is we don't know how much longer it has to go, and we don't know when they're going to break. But we have them going in that direction. And it's going to take an awful lot to get them back there again if we have some other president has to do it.
Well, Rudy, listen, there are many people that share your view about this. I have serious misgivings about this whole
I know you do,
war.
and you're entitled to. And I think it is a difficult war as always.
This was an amazing interview and conversation. We haven't heard much from former Mayor Rudy Giuliani, but he has shared with us some reflections that's very newsworthy to dispel the myth that Israel was the one who's at fault for convincing the President Donald J. Trump to launch this operation to end the war that began 47 years ago. As the Prime Minister, Mr. Bibi Netanyahu, said, no one convinces Donald J. Trump what to do. He does it what he thinks is right for America first. And as you heard from the former mayor, Rudy Giuliani, he heard it from Donald J. Trump back in the 80s that Iran needs to be dealt with, that we cannot allow this radical jihadist Islamists to continue on having access to nuclear warfare or ballistic missiles. They knew back in the 80s that this is a problem. And as he mentioned, he really thought that Reagan would have had what it took to take him out. So every administration agreed and recognized and realized that this is a radical jihadist death cult that has to be dealt with. But every administration kicked the can down the alley, as they say. Every administration just pushed it off to the next administration to deal with. And here we go, 47 years later, finally it ended up on the lap of Donald J. Trump. And he realized that he is a man that ends war, doesn't start wars. And this war that began 47 years ago, after Iran killed so many Americans, not only the 240 Marines in the barracks in Beirut, not only the Americans that they killed in Iran, not only the hostages that they have taken, but Iran has their fingerprints in just about every terrorist attack globally, specifically against Americans. And they are not shy about their intent of death to America, death to Israel. This is not just a mantra, this is what they believe. Their belief is that they must destroy the world so that they can dominate it with their Islam ideology. This is what they're after. They're after destruction to destroy the world. It's very interesting when you look at the contrast. Judaism also has a mission, and the mission is to save the world, to do anything possible to make this world a great place so that God will be welcomed here, to do anything we can to help the living, regardless of race, color, or religion. Judaism, which is the mother of all religions, has taught from the beginning of religion, 3,337 years ago, that the purpose of religion is about life. It's about the living, promoting life, building life, making life comfortable, bringing as much life as we can to humanity, populating the world, and creating family units, loving, caring. It's all about the living. And we are totally obsessed with life. Versus the jihadist Islamist idealism, they're obsessed with death. They're obsessed with evil. And we cannot and shall not allow that to prevail in the 21st century. That type of behavior made its way in the 7th century. We know now better. We know now that humanity can only exist through unconditional love versus baseless hatred. When you think about it and you ponder, why does Iran hate America? Iran has no dealings with America. We're 1,000 miles away. We don't share borders. We have absolutely no reason to interact with them on any level. Well, why is death to America? What have we done to them? And the answer is we have done nothing to them. The answer is that they are out to destroy the world. Anyone who's not Muslim, who's considered an infidel, gets in the way of the Arab Caliphate, we deserve to die. And that's what's called baseless hatred. And that type of hatred needs to be obliterated and annihilated. Well, God bless America. God bless Israel. You know what he said? This should have been done 35 years ago. He's so right, Mr. Giuliani. I remember when you were mayor of New York, you cleaned up New York beautifully. I'm a New Yorker, and we appreciate that. We know what New York was like before you cleaned it up and afterwards. You are spot on here. This should have been done 35 years ago. And here we are today with a bigger problem and a harder problem. But we will prevail. We will succeed. God will bless us because we are at the right side of history. God bless you. God loves you.